Hey everybody, it's Hillside Prepper 552. How's everybody doing today? Well, if you've been following along with the blog, Hillside Prepper 552.wordpress.com, there's a new podcast out. It's Hillside Prepper 552 podcast. It's on Anchor.fm and it's also on Spotify. I'm going to try to get it a little more branched out. But right now there's 2 episodes with it, and we're going to kind of do back and forth between videos and the podcast just so I can get the podcast caught up. And then eventually I can just record one thing at one time, being this, take the audio from this and move it into the podcast, which would be so much easier because trying to do 3 different things, including the blog, is kind of difficult. So if you like the video, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, leave some comments down below, have some good conversations and some good comments that come from this type of stuff. So I want to hear your thoughts on some things, and I'm going to be asking some questions for you to think about day in and day out. And I can't for the love of me remember what yesterday's question was. It was about we talked about the 1984 movie Red Dawn and the Russian paratroopers coming down in the sky. What would you do if you lived in a small town and the events of Red Dawn played out like it did? It's an interesting thing to think about, and it's something that a lot of people don't really want to talk about because a lot of people have the mentality of living for today, and that's it. Whatever happens, happens. It is what it is, right? Well, there's some things you can do to mitigate the it is what it is things. And that's what this is all about. I mean, this isn't just about the big apocalyptic thing or the big war. It's all about what are you going to do, in your regular life with emergencies and other things that come up. I mean, do you have a rainy day money savings account or whatever? If something happens to you, you're unable to work, you're in the hospital. A lot of people don't. So these are the kind of things you got to think about. So today's question really is, do you have something? And let's ignore the problems where money's going to be regulated by the banks completely with what you have. We'd be going digital currency. Let's just take that scenario off the table for just a minute. The question I want to ask you today is, if you were to go into the hospital, have a major procedure, or you're sick, I'm not talking about the virus, I'm just saying in general, if you're in the hospital for a long time, do you have cash set aside in a bank or at home to cover your expenses and to keep yourself on your feet if you don't have health insurance coverage to your job and you don't have sick days, personal time that you can use to cover what paychecks you miss? So that's your question for the day. Think about it. Best thing to do with these types of questions, especially when you think about that, is to write down what you have. A lot of people need to know what their net worth is, because sometimes you have to take out loans to pay medical expenses, right? If you don't have insurance and you're paying cash, you can get a discount from the hospitals, but you still need to be able to pay cash. And I think that's important. So we're going to move on, but that's the question for the day. Write down everything that you can think of and whatever changes you can make them. The MSNBC ban from the Rittenhouse trial. The Rittenhouse judge barred them from courtroom after a person is accused of trailing the jury bus. This is a big time no-no. I don't care who you are in a trial. If you're a supporter, if you're not a supporter, if you're media, you don't get involved with that. That is called jury tampering. That's in most cases, a felony. And we all know that mainstream media ain't the brightest bulbs in the pack. So this is a Fox News story. Whatever you think Fox News, I don't really care. But this is something that's on there. Let me see if I can find some information on it here. Judge Schroeder announced that staff from MSNBC will no longer be allowed inside. I think that something's playing in the background. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. So Judge Schroeder has announced Thursday that staff from MSNBC will no longer be allowed inside the Kenosha County Courthouse following the incident in which a person was observed following a bus that the jury uses to get to and from the building. The man identified himself as James Morrison and told investigators he was instructed to follow the vehicle. That's a big time no-no, because when you go to jury trials or deliberations following a major trial like this, one that's especially nationalized on TV, the court security personnel are accountable for the jury at all times, whether they are in a hotel for the night or whether they are going back, whether they're deliberating. This is something that requires the utmost anonymity. A little bit hard word to say for me, but to follow the bus, no. I don't care who you are. That is wrong. It's illegal. Big problems come from that. So beyond that, the Belarusian thing is getting a little out of hand. The Jerusalem Post this morning states Ukrainian guards on Thursday stopped a group of 15 people from the Middle East posing as tourists from crossing the border from Belarus. We know that it says Ukraine is already becoming a new flashpoint in the migrant crisis unfolding on the border. So here's the big problems with all this. This is what we've talked about before. The words posing as tourists should be a big red flag to everybody when you think about immigration and refugees, whatever term we're going to use. I don't care if it's illegal alien undocumented persons. It's still a problem. You have 15 people. What are those 15 people doing? Are they associated with any known terror faction? You don't know. You don't know who's coming through the borders. So, for those who are really humanitarian people, I get it. I really do. And as a Christian person, we're supposed to love our neighbors and we're supposed to give second chances to people. But at the same time, we're not going to let people into our house that are going to, destroy the place. You don't let someone in your house who threaten to break your china cabinets and steal your jewelry, would you? And you're not going to give them that second chance if you can't trust them. So why on earth is Belarus pushing this? Well, it's a Putin move, it's a Lukashenko move, and they're playing very dirty right now, and they're just pushing every little button they can to see what they can get away with, and they are getting away with a lot. Putin, let's be honest here. In April, Putin got away with a lot. He could have gotten away with continuing the Russo-Ukraine war, taking more than just what they took in 2014. This could be a continuation of that. He could have gotten away with it, and we would have done absolutely nothing for it. We had 2 destroyers in the Black Sea. The Russians came in and pushed us back. That was ordered from the number one guy sitting in that seat right now in our country. He's who will not be named for interests of not getting this video taken down. But it just really goes to show the weakness that's displayed here in this country right now by the current leadership. Again, Russia could do whatever the hell they want at this point, and nobody's going to stop them. NATO and all the Western European nations, they're unfortunately stuck fitting the bill for all this. And it's just years and years and years of tension when no one's done anything about it. And some people say, well, why is this important? Why do we need to know what's going on? Why should I care about Belarus or Russia or Ukraine? Why should I care about the things that are going on with Israel? Why should I care about what China's doing? Because in the end, it just has it's just a huge collateral effect on everybody else. People probably said the same thing at the beginning of World War II. Oh, it's a humanitarian crisis. Hitler's taking over Western Europe. They're killing millions of Jews in the Holocaust. Japan's expanding. Why do we care about that? Why should we care? Well, When Pearl Harbor happened, that's when it really hit the fan there. That was it. It took the Japanese coming in and doing that. Unfortunately, in today's world, with the technology that's available to all the militaries, the nuclear assets that most militaries have, saying right now, why does it matter, and then getting involved after an incident later, it's going to be too late. You already have troops from the Chinese or Russia or whoever on the mainland before you have a chance to say, all right, let's do something about this. We're going to stop them now. Too late. All this stuff has a huge effect on us. It's not just economically, but, the threat of war and that apocalyptic clock that they have where we're close to midnight, you don't see anything bringing that down. So this stuff gets talked about a lot for a very good reason. You need to know what's going on around you. I said yesterday's podcast, awareness. In your little micro world, you can pay attention to everything going around you. You can pay attention to what's in your rearview mirror and what's going on in your property. But, the whole macro part of the situation is you got to pay attention to the world around you. If people are out making runs on toilet paper and everything else, and you don't have any, then you're stuck behind. But if you were prepared before that, you can sit back and say, well, those people weren't prepared. If you have food, you have other things you can barter with, like precious metals. Not a big deal. And you just continually do that. Our precious metals today, silver, the big one that a lot of people invest in, is down another 29 cents. It's below $25 spot price right now. It's $24.93. Who's not going to buy silver at this price? When it gets jacked up, you have more value in it. Gold's down too, but it's almost $2,000 for an ounce of gold, and platinum and palladium, forget it. You'd be better buying platinum than you would gold because of the value of platinum. But I'm just saying, this is the things you have to pay attention to. This is what people in Venezuela wish they could do, because on average in that country they make $8 United States dollars, not per week, not bi-weekly, but per month. $8 a month in a country like Venezuela. What is that going to get you? A bag of potato chips? And you think that's going to feed the whole country or your whole household? So I'm just saying, Build Back Better is causing the economy to do this. Gas prices $3.53 today. It was $3.59. We're down 6 cents. 6 cents at a high price does not make a huge difference. I went to the pump yesterday and I paid $3.53 because there's different gas stations up here that range between those two prices. I got to the pump. I noticed someone put in $66 ahead of me. It was only 17 gallons. You think about that. Your vehicle's like a 13 or 14 gallon car. Most of them are, around about 14. Now, multiply that by $3.53 per gallon. That's pretty outrageous. A couple years ago, I could fill my vehicle up for less than $40. Now it's greatly over $40, and I have a Ford Fusion. It gets great gas mileage, both on the highway and in the city, whatever the terms are. This stuff's important to know about, though. I don't just use gas for my vehicle. I use it for other things around here, too. Everything that's going on in the world has such a huge impact, not just on wherever it's affecting those people, but it affects us in the end, too. You didn't think the Suez Canal thing wasn't going to affect us at all? We got ports that are still trying to get products in. And that is what we call through controlled design. This is all crap that's been designed. Someone's pulling the strings. Clearly, everyone knows that. Anyone who tries to deny it will call you a conspiracy theorist. It's no conspiracy. It's obvious facts that's right there in your face. I'm not talking about the pandemic or the V word that goes with that gets everybody banned from YouTube. I'm talking about what's going on economically and internationally with tensions and conflicts and unavailable stocks and the backlog of all these ports. It's unbelievable. And does have an effect on you. I can't go to Dollar General today and buy toilet paper. Toilet paper, paper plates, garbage bags, Ziploc bags, cookies. I can't go buy any of that. Gatorade, forget it. You're either gonna get Gatorade one week, Powerade the next week, and you might have to buy a combo of both. That's just the way it is, and this just has a huge effect on everything. And decision making through all this process isn't the smartest. I can tell you, the few towns over already has $2 Generals in place. They used to have a Kmart along the main drag down there. They had a couple pizza shops and just some specialty shops and a couple bars and another restaurant. That whole place has changed. The Kmart's gone. They're converting that into, if you guys are familiar with it, the Big Lots. They built a third Dollar General on the other side of town, because the other $1 General was on. If you're sitting in the middle of that village, $1 General is to the northwest. The next one's directly north, and now this one is to the east. On top of that, Amazon is coming in with a warehouse. They've got a temporary building they're using, and they're replacing the old it was the light bulb factory. I can't think of the name of it right now. And of course, it's always in my head because we talk about it so much. But they're going to take that whole building, either tear it down or completely renovate it. Now we have Amazon coming in. But $3 Generals, when ours up here isn't getting any product, they're not getting product down there either. So that's important too. I've said it before a million times. If you live in the South, you get hurricane after hurricane in a really busy season, and your stockpile goes down because you couldn't get prepared for it. Dollar General ain't going to have it. I guarantee you it. Probably the stores closest to their main corporate offices will have them, but nobody else further away is going to even have a piece of the pie in that retrospect. So the other big thing that I didn't put in the search bar, I have my camera on top of my computer, so I can't always see the tabs on Chrome. But if we just put in the Palma in the search story, or search engine, this is, let's see. Do we want AS or do we want Express? I think Express. Oh, actually, the Weather Channel 2 days ago, land spout swirls on the volcano. That's pretty neat. But anyway, this is Express. It's a United Kingdom thing. La Palma volcano rocked by 300 earthquakes in 24 hours. New eruption warning issued. Now we're starting to talk about the word mega tsunami. Everyone was so afraid to talk about it before. No, we can't talk about it. It's not going to happen. So on Wednesday, the volcanic Canary Island was hit by a staggering 2,300 earthquakes. Previous 2 weeks has seen the number of earthquakes each day drop to below the 200 mark. Experts are monitoring the situation. Same crap line you always get. But it comes as there had been a downward trend in several indicators of the volcano's activity, including sensitivity. In fact, the total number of daily earthquakes had been below the 200 mark since 28 October and fell below 100 for almost a week. So now it's coming back up. And there's the first fatality from the volcano after 2 months of it. But Bushcraft Bear put out a video. I didn't get a chance to see it yet. That a small landslide occurred. That's not good. Landslides. Talked about this. 500 cubic feet of rock falling 6,000 feet down in the ocean creates water displacement and creates tsunami. 7 to 9 hours, the United States coastline all along the East Coast is gone. 150-foot plus waves will move in. And they don't just stop at the beach. They continue inward. Because you remember, each time that wave continues to move down the ocean, it creates a newer wave. It's just it's transference of energy. That energy has to keep going till it hits that point. Because once something is in motion, it's going to stay in motion until it hits another force of greater whatever. So again, something to pay attention to. And people, and I think that New York Prepper said it best. Bushcraft Bear is not really giving the full circumstances of the event because he's some tourist guide, and they don't want to decrease tourism. Well, at this time, I think public safety is more important than getting money out of the Canary Islands. So, why do we pay attention to this stuff too? Why do we look on other websites besides the mainstream media? Because the mainstream media isn't going to feed you that type of information. The mainstream media, unfortunately, reminds me so much of North Korea and propaganda. It's information control. PBS, Public Broadcast Service. Now think about that. It's for the public. That means members of the general public, I'm not talking you, me, or somebody else. I'm talking like Congress, or I'm talking whoever can manipulate and control that media. They're not going to tell you everything. As we've seen with the Rittenhouse trial, they don't tell you everything. As we are seeing with Palma, they don't tell you everything. I don't think I have seen Belarus or Ukraine, for that matter, on the news, on Fox News or any other local news media outlet. The only thing that I see consistently on local media, and this drives me nuts every day, is the virus. Every single thing that one of the local news stations talks about is the damn virus. And that's not a bad thing that they talk about the virus. I don't care about that. I care that it's every single news story, every hour upon the day. The only time they break from it is when there's a fatal car accident or there's a major fire. In this case, a local person who, let's just be honest with it, an inmate who brutally killed a 4-year-old boy. This was a national story. He was 13 years old when he brutally killed this 4-year-old boy. Was finally granted parole. And they've been talking about him on the news a lot. Kind of breaking away from the pandemic, but not really. But there's nothing else about going on the news. The only other time what fits their agenda is the whole gun control thing. And they're only talking about the shootings in the cities every night. You're not getting reliable information from mainstream media, and you got to go to other places. And I find it funny, every time I get on YouTube now, one of the biggest questions I get asked is a survey that says, how would you rate your ability to get news from YouTube? And I just skip it because they don't want an honest answer from me about it. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. I'm not gonna say it's all right, but it's not good at the same time. So the podcast, let me pull up the website. There's so many websites to try to stay on top of, but I think yesterday we talked about the term self-reliance. Self-reliance isn't a term I've used much on here. I should be using it more often, but, getting information from other places, staying away from the mainstream media at all costs, of course, is impossible, but you have to do it. But yes, self-awareness, and on the podcast I'm going to get on about my radios. As you all know, that's one of my favorite subjects because I do love these radios. They're pretty neat. So once that gets caught up, like I said, then we're going to start synchronizing that, and the blog I just have to type out. But with schooling, I've got till the middle of December, just a few more weeks. I'm trying to get everything wrapped up as fast as I can because I have other projects to take care of, another YouTube channel. So the other YouTube channel, not mentioned very often here, does emergency alert system mocks. Basically, take the emergency alert system tones, put it to text to speech, put the backgrounds you'd see on the radio. Well, you don't see backgrounds on the radio, but I make it like a radio sound. Edit it through Audacity, edit it through OpenShot, and we've got different types of scenarios. That channel is running 350 plus subscribers right now, and it's been going for. I've had that channel for years, but it's the first time I actually focused on something. So you can check that out. That's World of Coal. Obviously, this is Hillside Prepper 552. This channel here. This is also on Anchor, WordPress as well. Trying to expand out a little bit, catch some more people in the audience, and maybe we can get some more people to pay attention. But the big thing, like I said today, is why do we got to pay attention to these events, and why should you, what are you doing to have a rainy day money fund, whether it's in the bank or whether it's in your mattress? Those are important things you got to think about for the day. And if you're thinking about my question I asked you earlier about the money and your emergency day, rainy day fund, I would be inclined to make a list and write down all your expenses, monthly expenses or yearly expenses. Like for me, car insurance is a yearly expense because I pay it all at once. It's not that expensive, so it's something I take care of, so I don't have to worry about another bill for a month or for months on end. But you try to mitigate your bills as much as you can, and you see what you can put aside each month for those emergency services funds or whatever. New car, car repairs, everything. Because again, as I said it before multiple times, prepping isn't about the big thing that's coming, the big asteroid that's going to hit the Earth, the big war that's coming, whatever. Something in the distant future that we can't even see, that we don't know what's going to happen. Like God says in the Bible, no man will, and I'm not going to quote it directly, but basically no man will know the date nor the time that, it happens. We don't know the future, but we need to prepare for that future with everything that we've got. So, till next time, Hillside Prepper 552 will catch you guys on tomorrow's podcast. See you then.